evening, everyone. I'm Frank Novak, and this is Point of Reference. Tonight, we give you a brief introduction to each candidate running for office in the city of Haverhill, incumbent as well as newcomer, in an effort for you to get to know them a little better and help you decide who to vote for on Election Day, November 7th. We're very proud that almost 100% of the candidates took us up on our invitation to help you become a more informed voter. I'm talking right now with school committeeman Paul Magliocchetti, Attorney Paul Magliocchetti, and if he seems a little bit familiar to you, it's because he's just finished up a primary race for the state representative's position, but if that didn't happen to work out, that's okay. He's on the ballot for the Haverhill School Committee. Welcome to the program, Paul.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. This is, you have finished how many terms so far?
This is going to be the end of my second term, so
okay,
I'm running for a third term. Yes.
You know, can you tell us any compelling dynamics that you foresee on the horizon that are different from some of the difficulties or things that you've had to face in the previous two terms as a school committeeman?
Well, the first thing is we're going to be hiring a new superintendent, so that's going to present a lot of challenges. And the new superintendent is coming in, taking over for a very strong leader in Jim Scully. So it's going to be a transitional period. It's very important to have some consistency on the school committee when you're going through this kind of a consistency. It's kind of a transition.
When you take a look at recent things such as MCAS scores, and you take a look at the new schools, the budgeting, the things that have to go along, school committee is charged with the responsibility of policy and basically disseminating the monies that you happen to go ahead and use that are approved, and that's the biggest chunk of the Haverhill's budget is the school system. Yet, according to 351 cities and towns in the statistics, we're near the bottom on per pupil spending, whereas not too long ago we were about in the middle. Do you think that's a dynamic that's affecting us adversely, or do you think not? And if so, how do you correct that?
It absolutely affects us adversely, and I've been fighting every year to get as much money as possible, and that's one of the reasons why I supported the solar project at Haverhill High School and the one at Tilton School. By losing those solar projects, we gave up on over $10 million in revenues and savings for the city that could have gone towards education. I believe that we are underfunded as far as education is concerned. Haverhill faces complex fiscal issues. We're unique because of the Hale Hospital issues, and because of a lot of the other issues within the city. So the mayor and the council every year, they have to divide the pie a certain way. We don't determine how much money we get. It's up to the mayor and the council to give us a certain amount of money. And we have to be able to work with that. But over the years, I've been able to supplement some of that money. For instance, when I wanted all-day kindergarten, I approached Chairman Dempsey, and he provided us almost over $300,000 in seed funding to get all-day kindergarten for all of our students. That was due to my lobbying and the cooperation of Superintendent Jim Scully. When the girls' volleyball team at Haverhill High School wanted to enter a tournament at Disney World, I reached out to the business community in the city, and I raised almost $10,000 to help them get to Disney World and go to the tournament. When we were discussing, when I was on the stadium commission, and there was a debate over whether to do the artificial turf or the stadium stands first, I was the deciding vote to get the turf down. And the reason was, with the turf, that instantly generated over $100,000 a year in revenue because other athletic teams wanted to use our field on a consistent basis. That found money that we never had before. So I think with all these different positions that I've taken, I've added a lot to the budget that wouldn't otherwise be there, and it didn't cost the city anything more. So, you know, you have to be able to think that way, and you have to be able to generate funds where there wouldn't ordinarily be any. And I believe I've been instrumental in doing that, and I can do it further going forward.
So what you've essentially done is get into the details, no?
Yes, absolutely. And you know, one of the biggest issues that we face right now that's been underfunded is reaching out to the students and families beyond the schools. You know, it's a very complicated issue. You know, everyone talks about the dropout rate. Everyone talks about our performance on MCAS. Our teachers and administrators work very hard every day to get positive results in both of these areas. It is very important that we respond to them when they ask us for something, that we provide them with the resources and the tools that they are telling us we need for our students to reduce the dropout rate and to increase our performance on MCAS. That is why I've been fighting hard and advocating for social workers or counselors in our schools, because that's what the principals and teachers are asking me for. This isn't an idea that I'm coming up with. They're telling me we need these people in our schools so that we can get the kids in school to begin with, so that we can then work with them, give them the education they need, give them some self-confidence so they're more likely to stay in school, and then they'll perform better on the MCAS and the standardized tests. When we elevate the school system in the community, you know, as a realtor,
Sure.
you bring in different caliber of families. You bring in people that care, not only about education, but about the community. So the whole city gets lifted up. And it all starts with the school system. That's why education was a cornerstone of my state rep run, and it's why I'm passionate and I want to serve another term on the Haverhill School Committee.
My question for you next has to do with special education, which tends to be pretty much a hot button issue insofar as that it's mandated of what the expenditures have to be for the students you have to take care of, but it sometimes tends to be an unknown variable that comes out of left field that you are mandated to have to deal with. Are you looking to be able to seek any relief to offset what those expenses are, which can be pretty large?
Well, we do that regularly anyways. All this is done on a regular basis. We have a phenomenal new SPED director. Everyone is very impressed with Ms. McDonald and the work she's done so far. I actually had a conversation with her yesterday, and she has applied for new grants and new funding for some programs. She's doing a great job, but you can't control it when someone comes into your district in February or March,
right,
and it costs you $150,000 to pay for what the services that child provides. That's what's been happening to us the past 3 or 4 years. You get these mid-year or late-year placements that we become responsible for, and it tips the budget. It's almost impossible to even plan a reserve because our budget is so tight to begin with, and we don't have a lot of the services and resources that we need. You know, we are trying to plan and make reserves, but when you have such a thin line to begin with, and the costs of absorbing these kids are so large, it's very hard to compensate and to balance.
Well, it seems as though the different things that you've done and that you're trying to do is to try to stretch the dollar accounted for that we have as absolutely as far as it can go.
And believe me, I'm in Mr. Scully's office regularly. I was there this morning. At least weekly, we text and we talk regularly. I try to stay on top of all of these issues as much as possible, and we work closely. Sometimes we don't agree on certain issues, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, we have a good working relationship. And when it comes to taking care of the children in the city of Haverhill, we're unified, and we always advocate for the children and the families in the city of Haverhill. That's always been my focus. That will always be my focus. You know, I'm a proud Hilly. I grew up, born and raised in the city, graduated from Haverhill Public Schools. All 3 of my kids have gone to the Haverhill Public Schools. I care about this city. I care about the children and families, and I want to continue to fight for them on the school committee.
Thank you very much, Paul. That'll have to be the last word. And we wish you the best of luck in the upcoming election on November 7th.
And
Thanks very much.
I respectfully ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you very much.
Very good. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks, Paul. I hope that this program has been a point of reference for you. And until next time, my name is Frank Novak, and thanks very much for watching. And remember to vote on November 7th.